Heroism finds its way into every story and plants itself into the hearts of those who wish to be a hero. The concept of heroes can find itself as far back as ancient Middle Earth, the biblical times, and throughout the modern popular culture of today. Many of the heroes' journey tales that we hear and see throughout our lifetimes act as great morals to teach the value of being a human. From Star Wars to Avengers, Flash Gordon to Star Trek and everything else in between, it is hard to deny that the story of the hero's journey is truly one in every sense of the meaning, timeless. To analyze the heroic tropes of Joseph Campbell, his background and credibility are two important aspects to explore. One cannot simply delve deeply into a topic without knowing the acquirement that Campbell has. He tends to veer as far away from the traditional stories of heroes in his interviews, opting to tell stories with underlying messages and morals that go over some listeners' heads at first hearing. But with an academic outlook on the types of characters and stories that Campbell likes to refer to, going into an analysis of such topics should not be difficult. It is natural to be fearful and reverent to subjects that are foreign or do not have a common place in modern mental capacity. In today's busy world, humans have many things to worry about, like family, jobs, money, and food. Sometimes it's better to meditate on aspects of culture that, although may not be interesting at first, will bring enthusiasm in the future. With that regard, to take the first steps in Campbell's journey, one must go through their journey from past to future and know the history of the great Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell, born on the 26th of March, 1904 in New York, had a fascination with heroism that began in his childhood when he would take frequent trips to the Buffalo Bill's Wild exhibit at the Museum of Natural History. Amongst his research of heroes, he began to see congruencies between ancient and modern religious beliefs. As he grew older, his conclusion validated that beliefs could not be the result of independent historical development. On the contrary, people should explain their belief in myths through non-historical and non-literary means. After graduating from high school, he took his love for storytelling to Columbia University, where he would study English and medieval literature. After getting his degree in 1927, he then would transfer to a 2-year fellowship at the University of Paris and the University of Munich to further research the keys to interpreting myth. Due to the Great Depression during the 1930s, there wasn't much use for a writer during the time. As a result, Campbell found himself working as a preparatory school teacher in Woodstock, New York from 1932 to 1933. Afterward, he would spend most of his time writing and talking about the hero's journey until his retirement in 1972. According to the New York Times, Joseph Campbell, one of the most knowledgeable writers on mythology and folklore, died Sunday at his home in Hawaii after a brief illness. He was 83 years old and had homes in Honolulu and Greenwich Village. Many years later, the public broadcasting system would interview Joseph Campbell so that his message of the hero's journey could spread to every American with the privilege of owning a television set. Unfortunately, because of his death in 1987, he died before there was a chance for him to see the special due to his old age. Campbell did not attempt to hide his love of heroism. Every chance he would get, he would ramble to anyone who would listen about the intricacies of the stories of Jesus Christ or religion. And because of this, it is under popular opinion that Joseph Campbell will remain one of the most prominent figures in the literature community. In Campbell's career, he talks about going through a journey. It could either be a physical journey to look for someone or something, or a spiritual journey to find one's innermost self. Joseph Campbell narrows the archetype of the hero's journey story down to 8 character traits from all the stories that he has read or seen about heroism. According to Mythcreants, thinking about your character in terms of their archetype will allow you to see whether they're pulling their weight or if they're just useless extras. The first character is the hero. The hero acts as the guide for a story like Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter, or Dorothy. he or she is what the audience wants to aspire to. The second is the mentor, the physical or spiritual guide to the hero. Luke Skywalker has Obi-Wan Kenobi, Harry Potter has Albus Dumbledore, and Dorothy has Glinda the Good Witch. Thirdly, there is the ally. The ally is the sidekick to the main protagonist. Think Robin to Batman. Fourth is the herald. The herald is the catalyst to set the plot of the story in motion. Luke Skywalker has R2-D2, Harry Potter has Hagrid. The fifth is the trickster. The trickster is the protagonist's foil in the hero's journey who tries to stop the hero or slow the hero down. Examples of this include Jar Jar Binks and Dobby the house elf. They are meant to be comic relief. The sixth is the shapeshifter. The shapeshifter deceives the main hero into thinking that he or she is the good guy when in reality he or she is not that great at all. In Harry Potter, this would be Gilderoy Lockhart, and Batman has Catwoman. Seventh is the Guardian. The Guardian is the troll under the bridge, the guard of the gate, and a roadblock for the hero to get through. The Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail is a perfect example of this character type. Finally, there is the Shadow. He or she is the main villain of the story, and the final boss that the knight needs to slay in order to get to the princess at the top of the tower. Two characters that come to mind are Darth Vader from Star Wars and Voldemort from Harry Potter. All of these 8 character types are what makes up the hero's journey. After Joseph Campbell's death in 1987, many people tried to pass on the knowledge of Campbell's work. Students read stories that allowed them to question societal normality, and many conservative voices said that school indoctrinates children into believing a certain way. According to the Federalist, English teachers have scored multiple generations on Shakespeare because they taught it as propaganda, not as dense text requiring complex thought. With Campbell's work, it is under fire to this day for playing into emotions that people see as not fitting for men. We teach our boys to bury their emotions and to not wish for things like happiness or pleasure, as we then tell them that these emotions will come in time or not at all. A generation of young men are now associated with being social outcasts, hermits, and shut-ins because they do not wish to seek heroism to oppose their parental generations. Joseph Campbell taught us to seek adventure everywhere. Heroism is in all forms of media such as books, television, movies, and even internet series, thanks to the rise of role-playing stories on websites like YouTube and Twitch. The newest generations of high schoolers and college students born between 2000 and 2004 are rejecting the new alternative conservatism brought on by the first wave of Gen Z that was born between 96 and 2000. Children are rejecting toxic roles that society has placed on them and embracing individualism, vulnerability, and adventure that Joseph Campbell teaches in works such as The Hero with a Thousand Faces and The Hero's Journey. Because of Joseph Campbell, many people are waking up to the world around them. They are embracing a new wave of philosophy instead of wishing for behavior same to their own beliefs. The world would be a different place had it not been for people like Campbell in it. Heroism finds its way into every story and plants itself into the hearts of those who wish to be a hero. This statement holds true in regard to what Joseph Campbell spent his life teaching. A hero is someone who goes out of their way to find something bigger than themselves. Campbell studied for many years to understand not just the things that make a hero in fiction, but what drives people to seek heroism and adventure in the real world. He was able to conclude that the 8 character types that all contribute heavily to the story all make up the hero's tale. Despite the backlash to the continuation of Joseph Campbell's work, literature teachers and lecturers of all backgrounds are passing the teachings of Joseph Campbell to the new generation. The passing of these messages helps contribute to the timelessness of movies like The Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Harry Potter. Also, the stories of fantasy and fairy tales that our children hear every night before bedtime has been timeless since their first drafts. In conclusion, people may still underappreciate Joseph Campbell's work. However, the importance of his work is subconsciously in the minds of students by those who don't even know they're teaching it. It is being the heroic character tropes of Joseph Campbell and how heroism applies to modern media such as movies, books, television, and other forms of media. Heroism is something that is in everyone's lives. It is in normal lives in small ways like picking something up for somebody or holding the door for someone entering or exiting a building. Our armed forces use heroism by fighting for our freedoms back home. They take part in something bigger than themselves and go on a journey of self-discovery. Astronauts and space agencies use heroism to explore the cosmos and bring civilization to its absolute peak. It is for many reasons, despite Joseph Campbell's small following, his work, legacy, and life will live in infamy to those who knew his life the best.